My wife sacrificed our marriage for the hollow thrill of an old flame. Now that it's all crumbled around her, she wants to slip back into my life as if none of it ever happened. But here's the thing, I've already closed that chapter. Hello, Reddit. Jason Bell here. I'm 36, and I run a steadily growing auto repair shop just on the edge of Cedar Ridge, a place where everyone knows your name and probably your mother's maiden name too. I built that shop with my bare hands, quite literally. 10 years of blood, sweat, and broken knuckles. I gave up weekends, burned holidays, and worked late into nights when others were at barbecues or tucked in bed. I'm not some millionaire, but I've got security, peace, and pride. I live in a comfortable house I bought 6 years ago, not extravagant, but mine. I pictured filling it with laughter, shared Sunday mornings, and someday, the pitter-patter of little feet. Then came Emma, 31, a dental assistant with a quick wit, a disarming smile, and an effortless beauty that made you forget what you were saying. We met through a mutual friend, hit it off fast, and stayed strong for 4 solid years before marrying. 10 months into our marriage, I thought we were headed full throttle toward forever. We'd even begun talking about starting a family until last Thursday. That Thursday began like any other. I closed the shop early to help Emma organize her scattered documents for tax season. She was always misplacing stuff: pay stubs, W-2S receipts from the pharmacy. I figured I'd lighten her load, give her space to cook while I sifted through her folders on her laptop. That's when I found a folder named for Jason. Naturally, I clicked it. Inside were 3 ultrasound images. Clear, recent, 2 weeks old. I stared, frozen. My heart stopped, then soared. I thought it was a surprise, a beautiful, life-changing surprise. She was pregnant. My wife, my Emma. We were having a baby. Heart racing, I carried the laptop to the kitchen, wearing the kind of grin that only comes once in a lifetime. But as soon as she saw the screen, she went pale as if I'd caught her mid-crime. The spatula hit the floor. She sat down, head in her hands, trembling. Then came the words that hollowed me out. "You're not the father." My mind reeled. "What do you mean I'm not the father?" I asked, barely able to form words. I was already imagining my dad taking our kid fishing, already dreaming of tiny shoes by the door. But no, those dreams weren't mine to keep. They belonged to Jeremy, her ex from college. The same slick-talking charmer who'd breezed back into town 7 months ago after a failed business venture somewhere in the city. The guy who always had charisma and never the discipline to back it. I knew they had history, but Emma had sworn that was ancient. Turns out, she only put a padlock on that door, not a deadbolt. She claimed they just ran into each other at the farmer's market. It was innocent, she said, then complicated. Then came the classic. He made me feel like myself again. As if that justifies months of deception. I didn't scream, didn't yell. I just walked out. No phone, no wallet. Just keys in my pocket and my foot on the gas. I drove until my thoughts stopped spinning. When I finally returned home, she was waiting, crying, pleading, telling me Jeremy wanted to start over with her, that their bond was real, that the baby was a sign. I told her to pack, leave. That's when the tears turned to fury. "You can't just throw me out," she snapped. "I live here too." I reminded her gently but firmly. The house was mine, bought years before we ever exchanged vows. I reminded her that fidelity wasn't a choose-your-own adventure. Love doesn't coexist with betrayal. She sobbed, screamed that I didn't fight for her, that I never saw her emotional needs, and then the final knife. "Maybe Jeremy is more of a man than you. He makes me feel wanted." That was it. Whatever pain I'd been holding on to turned to ice. I looked her in the eyes and said, "If Jeremy's such a man, he can come pick you up." I gave her 24 hours to pack. By the next morning, she was gone. No goodbye, no apology. Just 2 bags by the door and the keys to the Honda I'd let her drive after hers died last year. That same afternoon, I called Eric, my best friend and an ironclad attorney. "Lock it down," he said. And we did. Every bank account, every asset, passwords changed, names removed. No prenup, but a very strong at-fault divorce case, especially with her pregnant by another man. She wasn't getting my house, not my car, not a single cent from my business. She hadn't earned it. I even froze the joint, Netflix. 3 days later, she texted to ask why her health card didn't work and why she couldn't watch Stranger Things. I replied, "You don't live here anymore. Ask Jeremy." Then came the guilt offensive. Her best friend, Kayla, messaged me, accusing me of being cruel. You shouldn't abandon her during pregnancy. I replied, she wasn't pregnant with my child when she abandoned me, and blocked her. Emma showed up at my shop not long after. Hoodie, sunglasses, barely showing. Said the Honda wouldn't start. Asked if I'd take a look. I asked if she was a client. She said no. I told her, then you're not my responsibility. Ask Jeremy. She mumbled something about Jeremy's truck being busted and not having money for repairs. Not my problem. I told her just that. She cried, said she still cared, reminded me of our 4 years together, tried to play the history card, but history doesn't entitle you to a future. I told her she spent our love like loose change the night she slept with another man and expected me to raise his child. She left in silence. Word traveled fast in Cedar Ridge. By the weekend, everyone knew. I said nothing. I didn't need to. People saw her for what she'd done. Old customers came by to shake my hand. Some tipped double just to say, you did the right thing. My mom cried. My dad? He just said, son, she did you the biggest favor of your life. My brother Max dodged a bullet, burned the bridge, and I threw out every photo, replaced the mattress, bought new dishes, upgraded my TV. Little things, but meaningful. I was reclaiming my space, rebuilding my life one piece at a time. And it was working. 6 weeks passed. I was sleeping better, eating like a normal human again. The shop was booming, probably because the whole town rallied behind the mechanic who stood his ground. I was laughing again, really laughing. And then Emma's world started crumbling. It started with Jeremy. He came stomping into my shop one Thursday. Muddy boots, cheap cologne, uninvited confidence. You need to back off, he said. I raised an eyebrow. From what? Emma's stressed. You're turning people against her. I laughed. I haven't said a word. People turned against her all by themselves. She's pregnant. Man, he snapped. She's vulnerable. I stepped forward. Maybe you shouldn't have gotten a married woman pregnant if you cared about her well-being. He tried to puff up, but I wasn't backing down. You think you're better than me? He barked. No, I said. I know I am. I didn't destroy a marriage and then show up begging for help with a broken truck. His jaw clenched. Before he could react, I added, you're not here for her. You're here because she's falling apart and you don't want to go down with the ship. He left, but the unraveling continued. A week later, I got a call from her former boss. Emma had missed 3 days of work, showed up late on the 4th, crying in the staff room. She told her supervisor I was ruining her reputation and asked if they could talk to me. Talk to me. Then came her mother with cookies, Emma's favorite chocolate chip recipe, the ones she used to bring me when we were dating. Coincidence? Not a chance. Susan asked to chat, said Emma was overwhelmed, hormonal, full of regret. I handed her the cookies and told her, the woman who loved me wouldn't have let Jeremy back into her life. That woman's gone. Then came the letter, handwritten, floral stationery, Emma's neat script. She talked about the baby, how Jeremy Ryan, apparently, his real name, had lost 2 jobs, how rent was overdue, how stress was making her sick, how she missed our life, our stability. I didn't realize what I had until I lost it, she wrote. Maybe someday you'll forgive me. Maybe you'll even want to be part of this baby's life. I didn't reply. I photocopied it and sent it to Eric. We filed the divorce petition the next day, citing infidelity, pregnancy, and her attempt to manipulate me into a father figure role I never agreed to. When she tried to fight it, her rookie attorney asked for spousal support on grounds of emotional trauma. The judge almost laughed. She left the courtroom with nothing but her purse and her pride in tatters. I repossessed the Honda the next morning. Now, life is quiet, peaceful. I've started dating again. Nothing serious. Just letting life unfold. My shop's thriving. I've hired 2 new guys and we're expanding into the next town. Emma, last I heard, she moved back in with her mother. Jeremy skipped town, left a trail of bills and a wrecked apartment in his wake. And the baby? I don't ask. Not my child. Not my burden. Sometimes I think about that letter, how she wrote that she didn't realize what she had until it was gone, and I smile, because by the time she figured it out, I was already long gone.